I'm the eldest in my family, and my father turns 93 in April. He's still living at home, and I'm basically the key person that helps support him access care. I think the thing that I really want to say loudly to people is we're just one family. There are lots and lots of families, and some of them have elderly family in aged care, but lots more of us don't. We've got stubborn, independent old people living at home, managing. And I think the vulnerability is that they don't have a great deal of care. And a lot of if something suddenly goes wrong, the step up is managed by family. And so here we are, we're going to expect to need to step up, and family can't do it. And I'm really worried when you start repeating that pattern. And, the whole point of responding early to the whole virus, everyone is busy planning how to, increase capacity in emergency and increase capacity in intensive care, which is great. And it's important for those people who can be supported and, basically have their lives saved by those interventions. But people like my dad, they will die. And I know that, and he knows that. And he's pretty philosophical. He tells me he's got to die of something. He then points out that he didn't get polio when all the other kids did, so maybe he'll be lucky this time too. And he may well. So this stress could be for nothing. But my concern is not that he'll die, but that how do we support him to have a good death at home? And how do we support his neighbours and his family and all those other neighbours and family who are going to be in the same boat? Because it's going to hurt and it's going to be scary. And I'm lucky. I really understand palliative care and death and dying. But it's still going to hurt.
But my concern, another concern with coronavirus would be people living by themselves who don't have a network and don't have close family. That would be a concern.
Yeah. As somebody who's just had a kidney transplant, my immune system is way down. It has to be. Otherwise, my little mate Kevin the kidney, will start being rejected, and I'll be in all sorts of strife. And that's one of the points I really want to make strongly here. The ads I've seen so far from the government and from the medical authorities say it's only the elderly who are vulnerable, as if the elderly are expendable. And I think that's a really sad and horrible thing to say, because I don't think any of us are expendable. And I also think that there are people who are walking around who are vulnerable, but you couldn't tell from the naked eye. Like, they say I'm elderly. I'm 67. Well, I'll debate that till the cows come home. I'm not that old. But even if I wasn't, because I've had a kidney transplant, I'm immune compromised. So I've got to be extra careful about social distancing and proper coughing hygiene and washing my hands and everything. But people walking down the street wouldn't recognise that. They think that we're only talking about people on wheelie walkers or people with walking sticks or people with grey hair. No, we're not. We're talking about the people who are vulnerable are not all just elderly. They are people with a range of conditions, and we need to take care of each other, all of each other, not just the ones that we're going to easily identify. And partitioning off those 4% who are very vulnerable, just I think is a bad message for a time when we need some social unity and some social cohesion.
I'm very concerned at the moment that things are getting worse, and I was hoping they were going to get better, really, but it doesn't look like it this morning by the news or that. So I'm hoping I don't get it, but I'm very vulnerable for my age. So If I get it, I get it. I can't do much about it, but I hope I don't get it.
One, I'm not so much worried, but I recognise that I'm in a high risk category based on age. I'm in my 70s, and being an asthmatic, not perfectly controlled. Two, my assessment of the capacity of the ICUs in our hospitals and the availability of ventilators and ICU staff is that they will likely be overwhelmed, and I'll just have to live or die, whatever it is. Three, isolating at home for a long period could get pretty intense and destructive of the social group life I've been active in. We could get cabin fever, being at home together all the time. At least with my husband, we're not alone, but we will have an awful lot of time together at home instead of other activities. Four, the supply chain collapse globally, I think, is a huge issue. Immediately for me, it is asthma medications made overseas. I know that we use plain toothpaste and it's no longer available from the chemist. What medications of a more serious nature become unavailable remains to be seen. Five, I'm especially worried about casual workers with no sick leave. From posts I've seen from them, they will keep coming to work because they have to feed their family and pay their rent. They're in a desperate circumstance and something needs to be done urgently about that. Six, my husband has been doing the preparatory stages for 8 weeks of prostate cancer radiation therapy, and if the hospitals get overwhelmed on enough, it's quite likely that that sort of thing will not happen, which is quite sad for us.
Like some information on how intense it could be and what would be the symptoms that you could expect once the virus is confirmed. And if you were, worsening, what signs could you expect? I suppose I hope that adequate support and care will be available if I need them. And that, that I don't have to go spending hours or days trying to find out where they are, that I'll know pretty quickly so that if the signals come, I can go straight to the source of help.